What is going on, guys? Marcus here with the Reformation Woodshop, and it is October. So you know what that means. It is officially spooky season, baby. I'm going to be showing you 5 ways that you can use scrap wood to make spooky decorations for the Halloween season.
Here's Johnny.
So these projects are going to range from basic all the way to intermediate, with none of them being too complicated. The first couple of projects are not going to need a whole lot of explanation, so you won't have to hear me talk about them, so that is a plus. This first project is a really quick one. If you've got a 4x4 laying around, or even a 1x4, anything like that, you can chop the ears off of it, give it a little rounded look to it, a 45-degree miter on top, paint it white, paint some eyes on it, and you will have a ghost on your hands. You can also do a Frankenstein, you can do skeletons, any other creatures or monsters you like. Give it a little humanoid shape, and there you go, you're done. This next project I use a couple of fancy tools, but you do not need fancy tools to do it. I chop out the rough shape with the jigsaw, and then I take it over to the bandsaw to cut out the bats. You'll see me later on do a couple of ghosts with the scroll saw. Both of these projects can be done with the jigsaw, but I prefer to do something that's going to leave a nice crisp edge so it looks amazing. To hang these right in our walkway, I used some fishing line and a couple of eye hooks, and that was it. Easy as that. Woo! Spooky! Yeah! Ooh! It's a bat! You want it? You can have it. They stay, look, they just fly around. Alright, so to try and complement the bats that I just made to hang in the foyer area and use up more of this 3/4 inch plywood, I'm going to make ghosts to line the sidewalk. That way when you come to my house, that is the first thing that you see upon entry. Let's get to it. I've had this 3/4 inch plywood laying in my yard forever, and I've been using it to crush weeds that come up. So if you've got a piece of old plywood laying around, or any kind of scraps like that, this project is for you. So, same process as the first set of ghosts. I let the kiddo help me paint because that is what it is all about. And then I took these ghosts back to the shop where I used my finger as a guide to run a Sharpie along the edge and give them a nice cool outline. That way that they're not just a blank slate with a face. Then back to the scrap pile where I grab a stick of oak, chop it into 4 different sections, and then make that the mounting stake for these ghosts. It's projects like this that add a really cool dimension to your yard and stop it from being so flat when it comes to decor. That's going in the video. Next up on the list is one of the more popular that you'll see on every house, on every block of your city. It's the welcome sign, but most of the time during the Halloween season it says something like trick or treat. I'm going to be making one out of fence panels, and this is going to be a super easy DIY approach to the welcome sign. No sanding on this one. Remember, this is a Halloween craft. It is supposed to look dirty, dingy, and beat up. Just wait, here in a second I'm going to be splattering red paint all over it to make it look like blood. I had my wife write the word beware on this sign because I figured she had better handwriting, but in hindsight, I'm thinking I probably should have written it, since it's supposed to look like somebody who doesn't have a brain in their head wrote it, and that you should be afraid of them. Which, out of the two of this, that would probably be me. Like I said, blood, you know, just to add a little bit of a Halloween flair to it. These last two projects that I'm going to be working on are where things get a little bit more difficult, but I think that they're still doable for you. If they're doable for me, they're doable for you. You got this. First thing you do to start making these lanterns is start by cutting out strips that are 1 inch by 1 inch. The lantern's going to be 11 inches tall and 4 inches wide, and be made to hold a candle that's about 7 inches tall. This piece here is going to be the piece that holds up the candle that you set inside your lantern. You can cut a piece that fits the full inside measurement, but I left room in mine because I don't want any reason for there to be any water sitting inside this lantern on my front porch, because we already have mosquitoes as it is. I added this top piece to the lantern to give it a little bit of a dimension to it. It protrudes about 1 inch from the top, but it also goes 1 inch down, so it's a 2-inch piece framed out fully on the inside top layer of the lantern. I decided after looking at it that I didn't really like how the bottom looked. I thought it should be a little bit higher. So I cut 4 more strips that were 1 inch in height and added them, so it was a total of a 2-inch bottom. When you've got wood with fresh cuts on some sides and then old, rugged sides on others, a good dark stain will help to blend all of those sides together. Even if you've got paint, you can hit it with stain and it'll somewhat blend all sides and make it look like one uniform piece. I told you these projects were 100% recycled. I just cut these off of 2 of my paint cans. They are going to be the handles for the lanterns. Alright guys, so for my final project of this video, I'm making this. What is this? This is a pumpkin. Obviously, Sherlock Holmes. I am going to be making this pumpkin into a candy dish. I'm going to be using a stack of wood that has been sitting on my floor in that spot for at least 2 years. So, still scrap wood. It's kind of nice wood. It is juniper. It's already got walnut strips glued into it, which is going to make it look like a freaking pumpkin. So after I mark out the template, I will take this bad boy over to the scroll saw, and it is very important for this piece specifically that you get really, really straight lines. So you'll see me cut it out on the scroll saw and then take it straight over to my belt sander, where I make sure that even though I was really precise on the scroll saw, that the lines are still flat and flush. Next, I'll use that same sheet of juniper to mill down some wood to make up the geometric sides of the candy dish. So like everything you see on this channel, there probably is a better way somewhere. But like many people who are DIYers, amateurs, and beginners, you don't always know the best way to do something. One side is basically done, obviously not joined because it looks like garbo as is, but we are getting there. Before I attach everything, I'm gonna sand this up and make it nice and beautiful. But you can see the miters are pretty good. They all land flush where they're supposed to. And I'm kind of just eyeballing it. Trim carpenters ain't got nothing on me, baby. So the way that I decided to make this geometric candy dish is I laid out all the pieces that weren't touching each other, and then I come back in slowly, and then I'll add in the intersecting pieces, deciding what their angle will be as I go. This was a pretty difficult glue up, but just a little helpful tip. Glue and sawdust is your friend. Any cracks that you may have, throw some of that sawdust in there that you created by cutting this wood, obviously because it's got to be the red juniper, and then fill it with glue, sand it up real nice, and no one will ever be able to tell. Since this project is a little bit nicer than the others, we will hit it with some linseed oil, make it pop and make it beautiful. Just because it's a candy dish doesn't mean it can't be absolutely gorgeous. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you decide to make any of these projects yourself, find me on Instagram at the Reformation Woodshop. I'd love to see what you do if you put a cool twist on any of these things. If you're interested in this kind of stuff and you want to see more from me, subscribe. Maybe I'll do a Thanksgiving edition. Most likely I will do a Christmas edition. So if you want to know 5, 10, 15 cool projects you can do with scrap wood for Christmas decorations, stick around this channel and you will see it. Thank you guys. If you like this video, please subscribe. It helps me out a ton. I love you and I will see you in the next one.